SQL, structured query language, is how you ask a database a question. Every example uses the products table on the page, so let us fix it in mind first. 5 fields: prod ID, name, category, price, and stock level, and 4 records. P01, a laptop, hardware, £800, 15 in stock. P02, a mouse, hardware, £25, 50 in stock. P03, antivirus, software, £40, 100 in stock. And P04, a monitor, hardware, £150, 5 in stock. Everything that follows returns some subset of those 4 rows, and the useful way to read any query is to ask which of the 4 survive it. The 2 clauses every query needs are select and from. Select names the fields you want, the columns. From names the table they come from. So, select name, price. From products returns 2 columns for every row in the table, and an asterisk after select is shorthand for every field. Select star from products returns the whole table, then where filters the rows. This is the clause that does the real work, and the one questions are built around, so hold the division clearly. Select chooses columns, where chooses rows. They operate in different directions, and confusing them is the most common error in this topic. Let me run 3 queries and show you exactly what comes back. First, select name from products where category equals hardware. Go through the rows. Laptop, category hardware, matches. Mouse, hardware, matches. Antivirus, software, does not match, so it is excluded. Monitor, hardware, matches. 3 rows returned, 1 column. Laptop, mouse, monitor. Second query, select name. Price from products where price greater than 100. Laptop at 800, greater than 100, yes. Mouse at 25, no. Antivirus at 40, no. Monitor at 150, yes. 2 rows, laptop and monitor. And notice something about that comparison. A product priced at exactly 100 would not be returned, because the operator is greater than rather than greater than or equal to. That is the boundary reasoning from topic 7 appearing in a query. Third, combining conditions. Select name from products where category equals hardware and stock level less than 20. Laptop is hardware and 15 in stock. Both conditions true, so it matches. Mouse is hardware but 50 in stock, so the second fails and it is excluded. Antivirus fails the first. Monitor is hardware with 5 in stock. Both true, so it matches. 2 rows, laptop and monitor. That query answers a real question, which is which hardware items are running low, and that is what SQL is for. 2 things to add to that. Order by sorts the results. Order by price sorts ascending by default, and adding desk key sorts descending. Note that it sorts the rows that were returned, so it runs after the where has done its filtering. It does not affect which rows come back, only the order they arrive in. And conditions combine with and or, which are the same operators from topic 10 with the same meaning. And requires both conditions, so it narrows the result. Or requires either, so it widens it. That is worth stating because it is a common slip. A question asking for hardware items that are also cheap needs and a question asking for items that are either hardware or cheap needs or. Read the English carefully because the 2 produce very different result sets from the same table. Aggregate functions calculate a single value across many rows, and the syllabus names the ones you would expect. Sum adds up a field. Sum of stock level across our 4 rows is 15 plus 50 plus 100 plus 5, which is 170. Count counts rows, count of star with where category equals hardware gives 3. And there are also AVG, max, and MIN, which are the standard methods from topic 7, done by the database instead of by you. The important property of an aggregate is that it returns 1 row, not many. Sum of price does not give you 4 prices, it gives you 1 total. So if a question asks how many or what is the total, you need an aggregate. If it asks which items, you need an ordinary select. So here is the method for turning an exam question into SQL, and it works every time because SQL clauses map directly onto parts of the sentence. Take, list the names and prices of all hardware items costing more than £50, most expensive first. Work through it. What do you want to see? Names and prices. That is your select. Where does it come from? The products table. From which rows? hardware, and price over 50. That is your where with an and because both must hold. In what order? Most expensive first. Order by price desk. Assemble those four and the query writes itself. Write them in that order too because SQL requires select, from, where, then order by, and a clause out of sequence is a syntax error. If you get stuck on a query question, go back to the sentence and label which part is which clause. 4 things to take into the exam. First, select chooses columns and where chooses rows. They work in different directions and mixing them up is the commonest error. Second, put text values in quotation marks and leave numbers unquoted. Category equals quote, hardware quote, but price greater than 100 with no quotes. Third, keep the clause order. Select, from, where, order by, because it is fixed and an out of order clause will not run. And fourth, watch your comparison operators at the boundary. Greater than 100 excludes exactly 100, and greater than or equal to includes it. That is the same boundary care from the test data lesson, and questions here are written to test whether you noticed.